Hey guys, today I'm going to show you a quick tutorial on how to perform a double lift. It's very important when you're doing magic to be able to perform a double lift successfully. Most of the magic tricks that I do require a double lift, so here I will show you the double lift that I do the most. There are a couple different double lifts out there that you can do. The one that I like to do is called the strike double lift, I believe, and it looks something just like this. Alright, and so to do this, you hold the cards in mechanics grip, which is with your left thumb along the one side, index finger on the front, middle, ring, pinky along the other side. You give the cards a bit of a bevel, which is like this, which is just a bit of a slant, like this, right? So that these cards here are easy to riffle through. So you give them a bit of a bevel, and then using either your index or your middle finger, whichever one's more comfortable for you. I find the index finger is more comfortable. You riffle up the sides here until you find your two cards. And once you find the two cards, right here, you pinch and flip it over. So, pretty straightforward. One thing I like to do is when I go to perform the lift, when I bevel out the cards, and as I'm riffling through for my two cards, my thumb here is putting a bit of pressure on the upper half of the card, and it helps a little bit just to get to those two cards. It just makes it a lot easier. So a bit of pressure, find your two cards, and when you pinch, I kind of do a bit of a paintbrush move. It's where you take the cards and you slide them along the edge here. It's like that. Okay, so it's like you're painting the card, right? Now obviously when you're doing it slow, you're going to see the two cards. But when you do this paintbrush move fast, you can't tell. It helps keep the cards square to each other, right? So you do your double lift, and it makes it so that the cards don't slide around as much. It makes it easier for them to stick together because you have the one edge pushed against the card, right? And it really helps to not flash the cards. Another thing, if you're worried about people seeing you riffling up the side here to find your two cards, a little thing you could do is just angle the cards down and away. Don't like turn it like this so they can't see anything, but just a little bit of a turn like this, and it makes a great big deal of difference. Now, at the angle the camera's at, it's really obvious what I'm doing, but if you were above looking down, you wouldn't be able to see very well what I'm doing here, but I'm just doing it like this so that you guys can see my hand movements, right? So, once again, bevel the cards a bit so you get that slant. A bit of pressure on the upper half of the card with your thumb. Run your index finger along the edge until you find your two cards. Pinch, paint it across, and flip it over. Now, when I flip over the cards, what I do is as they drop like this, I use my whatever hand the deck is sitting in to square the cards up, right? Because if I didn't do that, the cards you can't see from here very well, but there was clearly two cards. You could see both edges. But when you flip them over and then square up the deck, it really just helps cover yourself so that no one's going to see that you did in fact left two cards. Now it's a bit harder with these ones when they all have white edges on them, but if you were using, say, like the ace and the 2, and you do this, if you're not careful, you might end up flashing a bit of the card that's underneath it, right? But once you do this over and over again, you'll realize that it comes natural to you really, really fast. And so I'll walk you through it one more time. You bevel out the cards a bit, run your finger up the edge until you find two. If you want, do a bit of a wrist kill. That's what this is called. When you turn your wrist to the side like this, so that the spectator can't see the deck as well, it's called a wrist kill. It just helps block the view while you do something, right? Put a bit of pressure on it, find your two cards, pull them over, and flip, just like that. And then to flip the cards back over, it's the exact same process. Bevel out the cards just a bit, put your pressure on the upper half of the card, pinch and flip. Now, when you're doing this, you don't, like when I say bevel, I just mean a little bit of a bevel, just like this, just enough that it's easier to find the two cards, because if you don't, it's not impossible, but it makes it a whole lot harder. But you also don't have to have, this great big one here that's really obvious, right? Just a little bit of a bevel, find your two cards, and then flip. Also, while doing this double lift, I like to strike the cards from near the upper half of the card. That's just what's comfortable for me. I know some people, they will go from the bottom corner here. It's people say that it's easier to pick up on the two cards like that. Either way, find what works best for you. Everyone's a little different, but this is what works best for me. I'm not saying it'll work for you guys 100%, so it does take a little bit of playing around to find out exactly what works best. And you know, I'm not trying to be the best double lift person in the world. You know, my double lifts aren't the best, but I'm just trying to help all you guys out. So one last time, bevel the card slightly, put a bit of pressure on the upper half of the card, run your index finger along the edge until you find two cards, pinch, flip, square up the deck, and then to flip it over, you do the exact same thing. Now, flipping over the cards, once you have it face up, flipping them back down is a lot easier, because with most decks of cards, when the cards are used a lot more, they get a natural bow in them. Now these ones are brand new, so they don't have much of a bow, but you can sort of see right here where the cards, the face-up cards are, right? I don't know how well that shows up on the camera, but because the cards have a natural bow in them, it's easier to pick up on them, because if one card is bent this way and the other one is bent this way, you know, this is obviously very dramatic, but this is essentially what's happening, right? But on a less noticeable scale. So it's like this, right? And it's a lot easier to pick up on the cards when they're bowed like that. So like I said, this is a newer deck of cards, a bit harder to do, but again, not impossible. So just keep on trying the best you can at it. It will come very naturally really fast. It's not a hard move to do, but it's definitely essential if you're going to be performing Magic, right? Because you know, it's not the fanciest move or trick in the world, but do your double lift, show what the card is, flip it back over, you take the top card, cut it into the deck, and then, you know, you can flick the wrist, you can squiggle on it, whatever you want, and then the card jumps back to the top. So not really fancy, but I mean, that is one application of the double lift, and I've done that trick a few times actually, and people have, you know, a lot of people who don't see Magic every day or very often, or you know, never, they don't realize that all it is just a simple double lift move. Okay, so hope you guys enjoyed that. Let me know how I did. Any questions, comments, concerns, you know, leave a comment below, and I'll try my best to answer it. You guys have a good day.